Someone, please call 911. He's turning blue. Maya Williams shouted as she dropped her mop and ran. The executive boardroom gasped. A few minutes earlier, billionaire, CEO, and king of this kingdom in Chicago, Richard Kane, was at the head of the long mahogany table presenting quarterly data with a measured voice. He paused mid-sentence. His hand went to his chest. His breath jerked. The room was silent as he convulsed. Once, twice, and then fell. No one initially believed it. 7 men in bespoke suits worth more than Maya's annual salary were frozen by executives. Someone said, "He's joking." Another said, "Oh, God, call security." The truth hit. No movement from Richard Kane. His lips blued. Maya did. She pulled the door open and stormed in, pushing past the frozen wall of expensive fragrance and ego. "Maya, what the hell are you doing?" a male barked. Another snapped, "She doesn't belong here." She cried, "Get out!" I know CPR, but no one cared. Richard Kane lay on his side, one hand limp against his breast, his lips a scary blue-gray. His respiration stopped. Maya kneeled beside him. Panicked, she whispered, Sir, can you hear me?" She touched his neck with 2 fingers. No pulse. Then she acted. She took a free CPR class at grocery voucher-only Southside Rec Center. She heard the instructor's words better than anything else in the room at that moment. Become their lungs if they're not breathing. She squeezed his nose, tilted his head, and leaned forward. She kissing him? One shrieked, "She's disgusting." Another, "Get her off him!" Her back hurt. Someone hit her hard. Maybe a cane or umbrella. She winced, but continued. She administered 2 rescue breaths. Then she locked her hands and compressed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another blow hit her shoulder. She counted while grunting. "Dirty chick." Above her, a voice snarled, "Avoid touching him." Maya kept her cool as the boardroom erupted. It burnt her arms, her back aches, itched her eyes. But she continued. She muttered, "Come on, please don't die. Not like this." 25, 26, 27. He tried to pull her shoulder. She shrugged, them violently. She leaned in again and breathed twice. Richard's chest jerked. After a powerful cough, he inhaled like a man plucked from the ocean. Eyelids fluttered. He breathed. Shaking, Maya sat back. Her hands shook. Her back hurt from the punches, but he was alive. She did it. The suits rushed to his side, collapsing in confusion. "Sir, Mr. Kane, Richard, stay with us." Nobody looked at Maya. The paramedics rushed through boardroom doors. After checking vitals, they lifted Richard onto a stretcher. One asked the room, "Who started CPR?" "I did," Maya answered, weakly. A tall, silver-haired guy appeared before the medic. His badge read. He spat out, "Edmund Ross, CFO." "What's your name?" "Maya Williams," she murmured, standing. "I'm a cleaner." "You put your mouth on, Mr. Kane," he said, as if she'd spit on him instead of protecting him. He interrupted. "He wasn't breathing." "I'll review the security footage. You are to leave immediately and not return until contacted." Her painful back pulsed. She surveyed the executives she'd saved from their boss's death. Absolutely no thanks. With shaky arms, Maya grabbed her cleaning bucket, rolled it out. Stepping out of that room felt heavier each time. She used the service elevator alone. She took the crowded bus home that night. Hunched, she saw city lights blur into long lines out the window. A distant train and youngsters playing stickball in the alley were the only sounds in her area when she arrived. Daisy, her daughter, arrived barefoot with a worn-out teddy bear. "Mama, you're late," she whispered. I'm fine, baby, Mia lied. Just a crazy day at work. She put Daisy to bed after eating packaged mac and cheese and leftover greens. That night, Mia lay on her mattress, listening to the radiator hiss. She traced the bruise on her back and bit her lip. She had saved a man's life, and all they saw was a poor black janitor grabbing a white billionaire. She didn't know it yet, but that moment, the next morning, Maya Williams stood at the front of the Kane Global Tower in the same gray uniform she'd worn every night for 3 months. The sun had just risen, casting pale orange light across the plaza. She clutched her lunch bag, a plastic grocery sack with a peanut butter sandwich, a bruised apple, and the hope that everything would return to normal. The security guard stopped her before she could reach the spinning door handle. "Ma'am, you can't go in," he said. "I work night crew. I'm on the 22nd floor." He didn't look at her. "I was told not to let you in." Her stomach twisted. "Why? I haven't done anything wrong." "Check with HR," the guard muttered, turning away. Mia stood, frozen in place, the morning chill biting through her thin sleeves. The night shift supervisor looked up from a clipboard and said, "Maya Williams?" Surprised. "Wait here." S walked around the building to the rear service entrance. Maybe someone forgot to log her return. The corridor by the janitor lockers smelled like bleach and old floor wax. Her name was still written in Sharpie on locker 7. 10 minutes later, the supervisor returned with a sealed envelope and a flat expression. "You're being let go," he stated. Maya stared. "Why?" "I did what?" The man shrugged. HR added, "It's for inappropriate executive staff conduct." "That's all they told me." Her hands slipped, opened the envelope and found a check and a letter standard termination notice. Her last paycheck. No severance, no explanation. Just her name typed in black ink above a line that said, "Employment terminated immediately. Inappropriate conduct." The words echoed in her head like sirens. She stood in the hallway for a long time. Taxis. Talked on phones. She walked the block without realizing it. Her thoughts churning. "They think I did something wrong." She stopped at the bus shelter and sank onto the bench, her legs suddenly too weak to carry her. A notification buzzed on her phone. A text from a night crew member she barely knew. Him. Another message followed. "Nasty. That's assault, right?" Maya's chest tightened. Her hands went cold. They twisted. What happened? The CPR? The breaths that saved his life were turning it into something vile. Her phone vibrated again. Her stomach turned. She rode the bus home in silence, pressed against the window as the city grew smaller, harder, grayer. The South Side felt like another planet. Daisy met her at the door again, eyes widened. "Why?" "I don't know," she said, forcing a smile. "They just said it was a misunderstanding." Her mother, sitting in the kitchen, turned down the TV volume. "You look like you've seen a ghost," the older woman said, concerned. "I'm okay, Mama," Maya lied. "Just tired." Later that night, she lay on her thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. Life went on around her. She opened her phone again. The messages hadn't stopped. Some were cruel. Others pretended concern. Most were whispers. One came from a girl in building services. "Hey, I don't know what happened, but folks are saying you did something wrong with Mr. Kane. Maybe you should keep your head down." The truth. She remembered how it felt when Richard gasped for breath beneath her hands, the jolt of his body, the life coming back. She had saved a man. Now they treated her like she had touched something forbidden, like her hands were too black, too poor, too wrong to have been part of that moment. She buried her face in her pillow and wept. Doors. She'd clean wherever someone would let her. But tonight, the injustice was too heavy to carry. She didn't know, couldn't know that somewhere high above in a penthouse glowing with city light, Richard Kane was sitting up in bed, clutching his chest in a cold sweat, haunted by a stranger's voice calling him back from death. He just didn't know her name yet. Richard Kane sat on the edge of his California king bed, drenched in sweat. The early morning light bled through his penthouse's sheer drapes, brushing pale gold across the sharp lines of the room. His heart pounded beneath his chest like it was trying to claw its way out. The nightmare had returned, voice trembling but firm. "Come on, breathe, come back." Every time he jerked awake, gasping, the voice's owner slipped just beyond his memory. He rubbed his face and stood, walking barefoot across the marble floor into the kitchen, up on corners. He was 39 floors above it all, insulated by glass, wealth, and silence, but something didn't feel right. He took his phone and scrolled through emails, contract approvals, press briefings, and a PR firm's request for a video interview. Nothing about the incident. He clicked into the Kane Global Internal Updates portal, less than 10% without immediate CPR. Someone had kept his heart beating until the paramedics arrived, but no one was telling him who. His executives were polite, vague. "It's all been handled, sir. Nothing to worry about. Mr. Kane, we've taken proper action internally." Those answers made his skin crawl. He picked up his phone and hit a contact. "Lucas," he said when his head of security answered, "I want to see the security footage from the boardroom the morning of the incident." "Appa, sir, IHR already reviewed it. Legal has a cop." 20 minutes later, the email arrived. He opened it and saw him, projected in cold, sterile clarity, standing at the head of the long glass conference table, gesturing mid-sentence, then pausing. One hand flew to his chest. The men around him panicked. Some stood, some shouted, but none stepped forward. Then the door at the far end opened, and a woman in a gray janitor's uniform entered with a mop bucket. Richard leaned in. She looked, confused at first, then saw him on the floor and dropped everything. She ran toward him, knelt, and checked his pulse. Watched her face, how her jaw clenched, how her eyes brimmed with tears, how she ignored the yelling suits, the pointing fingers. She was focused on saving him. Then he saw it. Edmund Ross, his chief financial officer, approached her, angry, furious. He grabbed her shoulder and yanked her back. Richard hit pause. His hands were shaking. For it. Richard stood slowly, his chest tight from rage, calling again. "Lucas," he said, voice low and cold. "Where is Maya Williams?" "Sir, the woman in the footage. The janitor. What happened to her?" "A beat. HR fired her." "Allegations," Richard hissed. "She saved my life." Slowly. He stood in the center of his immaculate kitchen, surrounded by silence. For the first time since waking from the hospital bed, he felt something crack beneath his ribs. It wasn't pain, it was shame. Down on the south side, Maya Williams didn't know he'd seen the footage, remembered her eyes, or that everything was about to change. But she would. Listings in the classifieds with a red pen she found in the couch cushions, and her afternoons knocking on doors, laundromats, diners, cleaning agencies, and anywhere else that might pay enough to keep the lights on, received the same response. A hesitant look, a whisper, and a polite shake of the head. By the fourth morning, her name had become a rumor. She stopped mid-sentence when Maya looked up. "Never mind." Maya forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "It's okay. You can say it. The one who tried to save a man and got fired." The woman's lips pressed tight. "People say you did more than that." Maya didn't ask what she meant. She knew. The security camera, grainy and blurry, but damning, showed her lips pressed to Richard Kane's. Back home, The small apartment smelled of old carpet and boiled coffee. Her mother read the newspaper aloud by the window. "You eat anything?" "Not yet," Maya responded, washing a cup. Girl patted, "I'll fix something for Daisy first." She rubs her eyes in the kitchen. "Mama, are you working today?" "No, baby," Mia responded softly. "Mama's taking a break." "Oh," Daisy grimaced. "Grandma stated you were mistreated." "Why?" Maya crouched and caressed her daughter's cheek curl. "Not knowing what's excellent can worry individuals." "It'll be okay," her mother sighed. "You must release it, child. Can't fight the story's authors. They always win." "I don't want to fight," Maya whispered. "I just want honesty." She rode the bus to a little 18th Street cleaning service that afternoon. The older man with a cigar smell on his shirt studied her resume and laid it down. "You worked at Kane Global?" "Yes, sir." "Yes." He nodded softly and leaned back. "I heard about that. I can't get that attention here." "I'm sorry." Ma's throat dried. "Attention? You mean life-saving a man?" "I mean controversy," he said honestly. "Clients dislike drama. Try elsewhere." When she left, the sky was graying. Wind ripped her jacket as she traversed the damaged sidewalk to the bus station. Several teens waited outside the corner store, one scrolling on his phone. He nudged his companion and muttered, "That's her." The janitor saw the tape of her kissing that rich dude for real. The laughing chased her down the block. When she reached the bus shelter, tears sprang out. She sat with her head lowered and arms folded, trying to stay together. When she got home, her mother was on the phone, urgent and low. Glancing up, she covered the receiver. "Your sister," she says. "People at church converse. They watched web video." Maya shut her eyes. "Yes, they did." The night she tried to deactivate her social media accounts, but new bogus profiles with her photo appeared. Cruel captions: "Gold-digging janitor seduces boss," "Black lady assaults billionaire." Her phone was off, and she sat in the dark till the refrigerator hummed the only sound in the apartment. Her body throbbed with tiredness, her back hurting from the boardroom punches. When she laid beside her sleeping daughter, she rubbed her hand across the bruise, recalling the dull crack, her swallowed gasp. She muttered, "Justice isn't blind. It refuses to look down." Nighttime phone calls occurred. She replied awkwardly. "Miss Williams." The tone was harsh. "Kane Global HR official. We finished our investigation." Her heart raced. "Can I?" "Your termination is immediate." Woman interrupted. "Our internal evaluation found your behavior improper. We won't charge you, but don't return to the site." Sat up, Maya. Numb, inappropriate. Your contact with Kane was excessive. Footage speaks for itself. Her breath was short. Giving him CPR. His respiration stopped. "Miss Williams, our choice is definitive. Your final payout will arrive by mail." The line ended. For a long time, she sat with the phone to her ear, staring at the shadowed wall. Daisy mumbled pancakes in her sleep. Maya felt her daughter as she turned. Chest pain. Tell her what in the morning? That her mother was fired for saving a man. The truth didn't matter when you were poor, black, and invisible. Her eyes burned as she leaned against the headboard. "God," she whispered, "can you tell me what to do?" Thunder rolled over the city. Rain pattered against the window pane, and the leaky gutter poured relentlessly like a heartbeat. Richard was in his penthouse across town. Kane stared at his laptop after the video finished playing. He could see Maya's fear, determination, courage, and horror as she was dragged away. He clicked pause, then leaned back in his chair, every muscle rigid. He'd built an empire on the illusion of control. Richard Kane stood alone on his penthouse's rooftop balcony, the wind tugging gently at his open collar. The city of Chicago stretched endlessly before him. Glittering steel, flashing lights, rivers of traffic snaking between towers. To the world below, he was invincible. But tonight he felt like a man unraveling. He sipped a glass of bourbon he didn't taste. He saw it in the footage. How Edmund had grabbed her. How no one had thanked her. How she had been manhandled, dismissed like trash. All under the watch of the people he trusted. The people he paid. The people who let her bleed for him in silence returned inside. City lights streaking over the glass floor. "Alexa," he muttered angrily, "call Edmund Ross." The digital assistant beeped 3 times before a sleepy voice answered. Richard shouted, "Don't play innocent with me, Edmund. Tell me what you did to the woman who saved my life." Edmund stammered. "We managed the matter as best we could amid complications, allegations, and lies. I watched the footage. You manhandled her. You stood there while everyone else did nothing. You called her inappropriate. She saved my life while you stood frozen." Edmund exhaled shakily. "Sir, the optics!" Richard slammed his hand on the counter, shaking the glass. "Get out of my office, Edmund. Pack your things before ended." Richard leaned over the kitchen island, breathing hard. His hands trembled, not from fear but from shame. He had died, and she had brought him back. And then they discarded her like nothing. He opened his laptop and dialed his personal assistant, Natalie. She picked up immediately, her voice alert. "Find her," Natalie said. "Give me until morning." "No," Richard said. Now he didn't sleep. Not really. He sat in the chair beside the fireplace, laptop on his knees. The video paused on the frame where Maya looked up, just as he gasped his first breath. Her eyes locked on his. 6 other families. According to the records, she hasn't had power for 2 days. Richard's chest tightened and no one's helped her. The cleaning agency blacklisted her. She's being called a predator online. Some tabloid published a story suggesting she assaulted you while you were unconscious. Richard rubbed his forehead. Jesus. Natalie added, "There's something else. Food." That did it. Richard didn't send a driver. He put on jeans, a wool coat, and his car keys and drove south, watching the towers fade into brick buildings, faded murals, and boarded windows. He hadn't driven in years, but it felt right. Maya's neighborhood was a world away from the glass and gold realm he ruled. He found the address, a squat brown building with chipped paint and a sagging staircase. He parked and stepped out, the December air biting at his neck. He knocked. A few seconds later, the door creaked open. A little girl stared at him. Hair in puffs, t-shirt too thin. Her eyes widened. "I'm looking for Maya," Richard whispered. Her face asked, "Does she live here?" Crumpled. "She's sick," she muttered. "I tried soup and pills. Nothing helps. She continues saying she's tired." Richard's throat clenched. "How long has she been like this?" "Since the day she got fired," she responded. She stopped eating. She kept saying, "It's not fair," and stopped moving. The door opened as Richard pushed. The flat was small. The walls faded. The heating barely works. Maya lay on a tiny corner mattress covered with 2 threadbare blankets. Her face was emaciated, cheeks hollow, and breathing shallow. "Kanel pudare," he whispered, "Maya." "I'm Richard Kane." She remained still. Took her hand. It felt feverish. "Call an ambulance," he shouted in the hallway. "Now!" The girl watched from the corner with a battered teddy bear. Richard squeezed Maya's hand. "You saved my life," he cried. "Now let me save yours." As the sirens wailed, he gazed down at the woman who had saved him and decided he couldn't lose her this time. The ambulance arrived at the premises with bright lights but no sirens. The paramedics asked questions quickly and professionally. Richard Kane scarcely noticed as they carried Mia's limp body on a stretcher. Despite neighbors peeking up the stairs, he followed them into the ambulance, from porches and windows. The medic attached a pulse oximeter on Ma's finger and cuffed her arm inside the car. Fever over 103, shallow breathing, severe dehydration. When did it start? Richard held the bench edge. "No idea. I discovered her like this. She's unconscious since I came." The medic said, putting an IV bag over Mia's head. "She's going into systemic stress. She must be stabilized fast." The turning onto the main road, ambulance shook. Richard looked at Maya's pale, sunken face with sweat beads on her brow. He gently retook her hand without disturbing the IV. He held her fingers despite their inaction. "Thoughts? You fought to keep me alive. Don't you dare give up now." "Ah!" The medic looked over, recognizing. "Wait, you're Richard Kane." Richard nodded. The jaw tightens. Man looked at Maya. "Is she who?" "Yes." The medic didn't say anything, but his gaze altered. Respect? Maybe. 20 minutes later, they arrived at a top North Side private medical center. Richard called ahead. Ma was wheeled away through the double doors by doctors and nurses at the emergency entrance. Richard followed until a nurse gently blocked him. "We will do our best, Mr. Kane. Please wait. Here." He nodded and watched Maya's stretcher disappear through swinging doors. The waiting room included clean leather chairs, comfortable lighting, and a corner piano playing quiet jazz. But Richard felt submerged. Sat, stood, paced, then sat. He phoned Natalie. "Northside Medical has her. Please clear my calendar for 2 days and bring me Daisy, her daughter. She's alone." "I'm on it," Natalie said quickly. An hour later, Daisy arrived with a social worker. Richard was watching snowflakes fall from the window when he heard her speak. "Is my mom okay?" He kneeled beside her. "Doctors are helping her. Strong woman. She saved me before, right?" Daisy nodded bravely, hugging her teddy bear tight. "I brought her soup, but she didn't eat it. I tried to be good." "You did more than good," he remarked. Softly. "You took care of her, just like she took care of me." "Mr. Kane, that's what you can." "You can see her now." He stood and took Daisy's hand as they walked down a quiet hallway to a private room. Maya lay in the hospital bed with an oxygen line under her nose and fluids dripping from the IV beside her. Her chest gently rose and fell. Malnutrition. Immune collapse under stress. She's reacting well. Her vitals are improving. Richard exhaled and murmured, "Thank you." Daisy stepped to the bedside and placed her teddy bear on her mother's chest. "I told you I took care of her," she said. Standing by the bed, Richard peered down at Maya. Her face was softer, less gray, and less shattered. He remained still on the chair next her. Hours. Daisy dozed off beneath a medical blanket in the corner. Warm soup and crackers from nurses. Richard stroked his lightly. While watching Maya, he struggled with remorse and disbelief. Neither he nor anyone else noticed her when she entered the first board meeting. She saved his life by entering that door undetected. It went beyond CPR. Defiance against power, fear, and a system that expected her to remain hidden. He couldn't undo what happened, but he could affect what followed. Hours passed. Night fell. Daisy's breathing and the monitor's constant beep were the only sounds. Maya suddenly stirred. Her hand jerked, eyelids fluttered. Richard rose fast. Maya. Her eyes slowly opened as she turned. She blinked confusedly, then looked at him. "What?" Her rasping. "Where am I?" "You're hospitalized," he replied gently. "You crumbled, but you're safe." Frowning, she spoke faintly. "Why? Why are you here?" Knelt alongside her, his voice thick. "Since I viewed the video." "All of it. I observed your action. You were punished for saving my life." "I'm sorry, Maya." Her eyes filled with tears. "They said I assaulted you," he responded, mouth clenched. "I know. They lied. I allowed them to lie in my name." "Not anymore." She looked away, blinking hard. "Not a problem. Cleaning is my job. No one thinks like me." "I trust you," he said. "I felt it, not just saw it. You alone acted." Only one who didn't look away. After turning, Maya faced him. Her voice was tender but forceful. "Then assist me. Not only doctors and money. Make myself visible. Teach my daughter that doing the right thing doesn't cost everything." Richard nodded slowly. "I will." She closed her eyes to rest, not sleep. First time in days, possibly longer, Richard stood and gazed at her again before whispering. "Now you're visible." Morning sunlight lit the pastel blue walls in gentle patterns through the hospital shutters. Maya slept, her breath steady and her face soft and warm. Richard Kane sat in the recliner next to her, elbows on knees, staring at the lady who had changed his life by doing what no one else dared. He stayed with her all night. Guilt lingered, thick and oppressive on his shoulders like damp linen. The man who'd established a billion-dollar corporation by making tough judgments and trusting the line of command had lost this one like smoke. It nearly cost someone everything. He accessed Mia's file on his phone again. Natalie collected it overnight. Every fragment of information put together like a puzzle the world had discarded. Name: Maya Clarice Williams. Age 29. GED, high school diploma. A year of nursing financial problems caused him to quit school. Work history: janitorial, part-time elder care, food delivery. Daisy is the only daughter. Mother: Elena Williams, disabled. Address: Chicago South Side. High crime, weak infrastructure, and city neglect. Her former landlord left notes and a legal eviction filing. It had been 3 months since she paid rent. Her power went out last week. She saved his life, and he swallowed hard. Richard stood and entered the corridor, where a nurse nodded. He called Natalie from a quiet alcove near the family lounge after walking. "Yes, Mr. Kane," she replied quickly. "Deliver 2 automobiles to Southside, 1 each for her mother and daughter. I want them moved to safe, furnished, grocery-stocked temporary lodging. Comfortable, quiet, and near a nice school. Call Dr. Hanley. Tell him I want her mother assessed today. Complete medical review. Done." Without pause, Natalie said. "Natalie," he said softly, "set up a crib in the new place. Daisy may be too terrified to sleep alone." The line paused. "I understand, sir." He hung up and went to Maya's room. She was awake, propped on the cushion, her eyes heavy with tiredness, but more attentive than the night before. Daisy sat next to her, legs swinging edge of the chair, coloring with medical crayons a nurse found. Richard caught her eye and she smiled. "Mr. Kane, Daisy, how's your mama?" "She's better." She smiled at my drawing. Maya carefully looked at him. "You returned?" she asked. "I never left," Richard said. She examined him, nodding. "You really saw the footage?" "All of it?" she asked, doubtful. "Yes," he said. 2 watched you battle to save me while everyone else was frozen. Then they treated you like a criminal." "I'm sorry, Maya," Maya averted. "Saying sorry doesn't change their actions." "No," he agreed. "It's a start, as is this." He took a folded document from his coat pocket. "I signed and notarized this document clearing your name and confirming your life-saving and acceptable acts. No misbehavior, no infraction." She hesitated. "It from him." She unfurled the page with shaky fingers. When she saw the words, her lips opened slightly. "More," he said. "I've sent a crew to move your mother and daughter to a safe, comfortable apartment for as long as you need." Her head snapped. "What? No need." "I do," he said softly. "Because I let them damage your life in my name, I can't reverse the agony they caused, but I can make sure you never feel it again. Feel alone again." Maya swallowed hard, blinking frequently. "Why? You care now. Why?" He stopped, thinking of words. "I didn't see a janitor when I died. I saw no race, class, or status. I saw someone struggling for my life. After living, I let the world obliterate you. That makes me complicit, which I won't be." Daisy regarded her mother. "He was good, I told you." Maya breathed, laughing and sighing. "You always assessed character better than me."